you can count on. This is WNEM TV5 News at 10.
They're really good sellers, so they always have inventory. It's rare that we'd ever have those out of stock.
It could be a lot harder for Michigan residents to get their drink of choice this holiday season, as certain brands are currently in short supply. Thanks for watching the news at 10 tonight. I'm Meg McLeod.
And I'm David Custer. A computer glitch leading to empty spaces on shelves at liquor stores across the state. And as TV5's Scott Walczak reports, it could have a major impact on businesses' bottom lines this holiday season.
Captain, Jim, and Jack. It seems like the gang's all here, but if you look closer at the shelves of Ideal Party Store in Bay City, you'll see some empty spaces where common favorites should be. It's bad news for the holidays because it's the beginning of a Michigan liquor shortage.
It's not a good time to have. Probably 40% of all liquor sales happen in the last 3 months of the year.
Jerry Crete is the owner of Ideal. He says it's been hard to get certain products for nearly a month. Last week, his store couldn't get a hold of half-pint bottles of Captain Morgan. This week, it's a shortage of half gallons of Seagram 7.
They're really good sellers, so they always have inventory. It's rare that we'd ever have those out of stock.
This shortage because Michigan has 3 authorized distributors, and the one that handles around 80% of Michigan's liquor, Republic National Distributing Company, just switched warehouses, and they're running into software glitches causing delivery problems.
Right now they're running 3-4 days behind, and so this week they just decided, you know, we're just gonna cancel all of the rest of this week's deliveries.
It's a sobering experience for anyone running a liquor business, and now the Michigan Liquor Control Commission has gotten involved, calling for the distributor to fix these glitches immediately.
Supposedly they've got the software fixes going in place. If they can get caught up on their behind deliveries this week, next week we should be able to get our deliveries as normal.
But at the end of the day, Jerry says don't worry because plenty of party stores have plenty of stock.
Maybe you have to switch brands for a week or two or something like that, but we're not going to run out.
So your holidays may still be merry. In Bay City, Scott Walczak, WNEM TV5.
New tonight, a major mid-Michigan employer is sending signals that it may not remain in business much longer.
Diplomat Pharmacy, with more than 1,400 workers, made that assessment in its third quarter report, in which the company posted a loss of $177 million. It says it's looking for, quote, strategic alternatives to stay afloat, including the sale of the company.
It's giving itself a December 31st deadline to implement a plan without one the company's creditors could foreclose on its assets. Diplomat Pharmacy debuted on the New York Stock Exchange in 2014, hitting a high of more than $50 a share.
It closed today at $3.18, up 8 cents.
A Michigan native has been found dead in the Dominican Republic. Her family says police found the body of 63-year-old Patricia Patty Anton in her home last night, bound and gagged, face down in the bed. Anton moved to the Dominican Republic 15 years ago to be a teacher. Police say the Traverse City native was strangled to death, but there was no sign of forced entry in her home. Several items were missing, though, from her home.
Saginaw police are looking to identify a suspect who drove into a building. They say last Friday, this brown Chevy truck intentionally drove into the Emmaus house on the 700 block of South 14th Street in Saginaw. It happened just after 1 p.m. and police were unable to determine the exact license plate number. If you have any information, call Saginaw Police or send them a message on Facebook.
To a developing story, the family of a girl who died in a hit and run, angry that the suspect has the opportunity to post bail.
How can you get a bond? You have 8 felony charges.
That's Anina Banks, the great aunt of Ashariante Clemens, who died alongside her friend Tatiana Brown in 2017 on Flint's North Side. The suspect in the hit and run, Jerry Turnbow Jr., was arraigned today in Genesee County in a court filled with members of the victims' families.
When I see him, I associate that with pain because he took our loved one away from us. To me, he's been living his best life for 2 years with no remorse.
Turnbow's bond was set at $500,000.
A 16-year-old boy could face prison time in an online threat involving a school administrator.
we deemed it a credible threat.
Genesee County Prosecutor David Layton says it happened during a discussion on the messaging app Snapchat. Police arrested the student last week at his home.
There were 12 weapons in the home. He lived in the home. We think he had access to them.
The teen is charged with false report or threat of terrorism, a felony punishable by up to 20 years behind bars. The teen is due back in court in early December.
A live look over a cold Saginaw tonight. We have another frigid night on our hands and more snow is coming our way.
But will it be anywhere close to what we saw earlier this week? With that answer, Chief Meteorologist Brian Bachman joins us in the First Warn 5 Weather Center. Hi, Brian.
Hi there, David and Meg. Thankfully, no. This overnight snow is going to be problematic for travel, no doubt, on into the Thursday morning commute, but nowhere near the level of accumulation that we picked up just 2 nights ago. All right, we've been talking about this for the better part of the last 3 days here. We've been seeing weather records fall left and right here in mid-Michigan, so let's round them all up here for you. We'll rewind to Monday on Veterans Day when we set a new snowfall record in Flint for the date of 8.6 inches, easily shattering the previous record of a mere 3 inches on November 11th. From there, over the next 2 days, it's been nothing but temperatures. We started with record lows yesterday, Saginaw dipping to 8 degrees. That was actually right before midnight last night, whereas the 6-degree low and the 2-degree low in Flint and Houghton Lake, respectively, those were yesterday morning, records nonetheless. We then set record low high temperatures during the afternoon yesterday, with low to mid-20s in all 3 locations. Saginaw at 25, Flint's high yesterday 24, and Houghton Lake only hitting 22. Again, coldest coldest temperatures for the date, high temperatures for the date, that is. And then as we see in the morning period here this morning, we saw another round of record lows with 7-degree reading in Saginaw, Flint falling to 1 degree, and 10 in Houghton Lake. As for temps out there at this hour, low to mid-20s are pretty much the norm from the Tri-Cities on south, still hanging on to some teens farther to the north and west. A smattering of light snow has been working its way in across the region over the last several hours, but it's still going up against a fair amount of dry air, so it's had limited success reaching the surface. However, that trend will change as we head into the overnight period, but most locations by morning really not going to be all that dramatic. I'll go over exactly what those will be coming up in your full forecast.
Brian, thank you. The recent winter storm has made things complicated for homeowners across mid-Michigan, as many were still picking up leaves in their yards.
As TV5's Kate Nadolski reports, it's caused delays in what would normally be leaf pickup time.
Fall started like November 9th, and then winter came November 11th.
A short-lived fall turning into quite the headache for many whose trees just keep shedding leaves.
Crunchy leaves and snow. You usually don't see these two together, but here they are, and they're causing a lot of problems.
I have never seen leaves hanging on the trees and out in the gutter with snow on top like this. I've never seen this.
The situation throwing a wrench in Frankenmuth's leaf removal process. They have 2 services for residents. 1 where waste management can grab their bagged up leaves, and 2 where residents can rake their leaves into the street and they can be picked up from there. But none of that went as planned this past Monday.
It looked like it would be maybe 2 to 3 inches. And so we decided not to call in our crews to work overtime. And instead we thought we'd be able to get them the next day. And it went from 2 to 3 inches till about 7 inches.
Which means a whole lot of leaves under a whole lot of snow, making them extremely hard to collect and workers unable to plow the roads properly without pushing them back into the residents' yards. After many complaints, City Manager Bridget Smith says they're working to pick up the leftover leaves manually, which could take some time. One resident says he understands and he's just going with the flow.
You just do what you can do and get the rest in the spring, I guess.
But others hoping that next week provides a much-needed break in the weather.
Will the snow melt off so we can get the rest of them out? I don't know.
Kate Nadolski, WNEM TV5.
A popular hobby and industry in mid-Michigan appears to be on the decline.
Tonight at 10:30, we take a look at why the number of hunters statewide appears to be on the downturn.
And history was made today as lawmakers heard the first public testimony in the impeachment inquiry into President Donald Trump. Coming up, we look back at what was said and how lawmakers handled their questions.
And remember, you can get your day started at 4:30 a.m. on our sister station, TV5.